And you said Pablo will launch mid-December with the launch of Centauri. How is that going to work? What type of assets can you trade on Pablo? And I think Pablo will also have their own token, right?
Yeah. So to clarify, like Pablo's going to launch with just 3 pools in mid-December: Pika KSM, KSM USDT, and Pika USDT. And then in January, there will be this KSM dot bridge. Then you start to see things like dot Pika, dot KSM, dot etc. Things definitely become really, really interesting when you start to see, Atom dot or Osmo Pika or Osmo KSM, these types of pairs. So in an effort to drive like community cross-pollination between both ecosystems, we are looking at launching the Pablo token. So there will be a token for the DEX, but it won't get released until sometime around when the actual bridge has gone live to Cosmos, because we obviously want there to be cross-pollination between the different ecosystems.
And then I guess the Pablo token is going to be also, well, first of all, probably an incentive token, but is it also used for governance, or what's the utility of Pablo?
So the utility of Pablo is a bunch, right? So you stake actually Pablo for 20% revenue on the entire DEX, so similar to X Sushi, basically. The other thing that Pablo is used for is like a bit of alpha, but we are interested, if Pablo has enough transaction volume, it will need to be its own parachain. And so Pablo could theoretically fuel a chain. So ends up looking very, very similar to Osmo, with like fee revenue sharing as well, which I think is exciting. And the other sort of core use case of Pablo is like, governance, gauges, like controlling emissions and stuff like that. We also have bonding. So people can bond LP tokens for Pablo at a discount as well. So that's like the whole protocol owns liquidity story. So I think like
Nice.
all the stuff I've ever wanted to do with a DEX is like getting put into Pablo pretty much, and hopefully the token can accrue value as a result.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And by the way, also like I've been getting to know you guys now since over 6 months, and like you guys have one of the most committed, broadest, biggest teams in crypto. I think you guys have over 80 people, right, working on at Composable, mostly developers. And when I also talk to like core Cosmos developers, they all speak very, very highly of you guys in terms of like the quality of code that you guys are writing, that you guys are shipping. I remember also in Berlin, I asked Ethan Frey, like, how much did you guys consult them or the Confio team? And he said, like, they barely ask us anything. Like, they just did their homework and they just built something, and we love it. So I think that's really, really cool and speaks of itself. But yeah, I think XCVM is then the next step that will enable a lot more things. So what's the timeline for that? And maybe talk about some of the use cases this unlocks. More tangible use cases for end users.
Yeah, so basically, like XCVM, we can already release XCVM in early January, but until the Cosmos, like Centauri goes live to Cosmos, you can't really use it for much. But so when it is live, right, the first use cases are going to be, deposit Atom on Neutron, print ST Atom on Near, or print ST Atom on Picasso. You want to make a swap on Osmosis, connect your wallet to Osmosis with Polkadot.js, and you can now perform a swap on Osmosis. If you want to perform a swap on Pablo, connect your Kepler, and you just go to town on Pablo, basically. Other things we're like really excited to push is like I really do like this idea of cross-chain margining. So having a single account of collateral and having multiple different places it can be used. I think that's a very big problem for market makers and for just degen like pro users, I guess. So that's
Yeah.
really where we're going to be exploring use cases with every team that we're working with. Yeah.
Yeah.